I went in for testing and came out with a baby. Like, wow. Wow. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sherelle. I do cruelty-free beauty and vegan lifestyle videos here on YouTube. I've taken some time off because I have had a child and I wanted to get on here and do my birth story. And I wanted to do that a while ago. I've tried to record this video maybe 3 or 4 times at this point, and every time that I recorded it, I end up sobbing. So I thought to myself, why not try to do my makeup today and see if I can get through this video without crying. So we're just going to start off with the brows, and I'll have to take you back in my memory. So I'll bring it back to about, I'll do a separate video on my pregnancy as well, because that was a long chunk. But I want to tell you about the labor and delivery. Then I could do pregnancy and maybe something postpartum as well, because this has been such a journey if nobody knows. So I'll take you back to 34 weeks pregnant. I had to do a checkup with my doctor. I was going to my midwives. I moved, so I had to go down to my location down in Long Beach, which is about a 100-mile drive from where I live right now, I think, or around 80. I think it's 80 miles. But I went down and they had to draw some blood. They were asking me a bunch of questions. And I told them that I just wasn't feeling my best self. But because I struggled with HG, I wasn't really paying much attention to those things, because it's like, have you been vomiting? Have you felt a little swollen? Have you lost your appetite? Which I never really had the biggest appetite because I had HG. So that I had that, I had to do a urinalysis, and then I had to get a blood draw that same day. I hate needles, but I did it. It is what it is. When you become pregnant, if you hate needles, you may as well face your fear, because you're getting stuck with needles like all the time, right? So 34 weeks pregnant, I go down, have that meeting, and they called me on a Tuesday. The next day, I had a late appointment too, so I think I had around like a 2:33 appointment, and they're like, we're gonna rush your labs to make sure that everything's okay. You know, what you're telling us kind of sounds like you're preeclamptic, but we won't rush there. And I'm like praying, please, you know, don't let me be preeclamptic. I know what eclampsia is, because my sister dealt with that while she was pregnant with 2 of her pregnancies. So I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want that to happen to me. So they called me on a Tuesday. We were doing a prophetic school in church, and I actually decided to stay home. And I actually decided to stay home from about 26 weeks pregnant. I didn't really go around anyone, didn't leave the house, because COVID was at its high. And I wasn't scared of COVID. I didn't want to have to deal with anything more in this pregnancy, because I had such a difficult time. That I decided, me personally, I decided, I think it was around 24, 26 weeks pregnant, that I just said, I'm not really going around anybody. I'll order off of Instacart for groceries and all that stuff. So they called me on that Tuesday and they said, hey, so, you know, your labs are looking like you are preeclamptic, and your blood pressure is really high, you're having headaches, tension headaches, so we're gonna need you to go to the hospital, and the hospital that we work with. And when I tell you I sobbed my face off, I couldn't even gather the words. And she's like, I know this isn't according to your plan. Because what happens is, if you're preeclamptic, or you're considered now a high-risk labor, high-risk delivery, you can no longer give birth at the birthing center. So my whole vision for what I wanted, my whole plan for what I wanted, went out the window. So I was sobbing, like, to the point of where my nephew was he was here, and he came up and he's like, are you okay? And I couldn't even stop crying. I was just so disappointed. And I waited for David to get home that night, because my siblings went to they were at their class. So I was like, I don't want to panic anybody. but I'll wait for David to come home and we'll head to the hospital. And they're like, we pre-called the labor and delivery, so they'll know to be expecting you. You're just gonna go in for some monitoring to see. So David got home. I think we got to the hospital around midnight, and they had to do testing. And they're like, well, you know, you are reading preeclamptic, so we're gonna have to have you come back 2 times per week, which I was like, that's fine. It is what it is at this point, right? I'd rather have a healthy baby and safe delivery. So every 2 weeks is fine. Okay, so I go for my testing week 34. Everything is leading towards preeclampsia. I'm having like sob sessions because that's not necessarily what I wanted, and I knew the fate, but I still prayed on it. I was trying to do everything too. I was like ordering drinks to lower high blood pressure, and went for a prenatal massage, and I went for like Chinese herbs and like acupuncture and all these things to make sure that my blood pressure was staying low, because I wanted to have a water birth. Week 35, I somehow come down with the cocoa, okay? And I'm sitting here sobbing in my bed because I'm like, I can't, like, everybody else that's getting sick, they can take medicines to help with body aches and move things a little quicker. And you have to be careful because you can't have herbal teas and certain tinctures, especially if you're pregnant. You know, you just don't know what's happening to the baby. So I suffered for about, I feel like my math is a little off, but I suffered for about a week. And I was 35 weeks pregnant and 6 days, and David looked at me because I couldn't make it from my bed to the bathroom where I am right now. And David looked at me because I had to crawl so slow, and I'm coughing. I can't catch my breath, and like literally like wheezing. I should have had him record me because that's a section of life I never want to go back to. It was horrific, and thinking about it can make me cry. And this is why I can never get through these videos. It was one of the most trying times of my life. And David looked at me and he's like, we're going to the hospital. And I knew I had to do it because I couldn't make it to the bathroom by myself. And I said, this is only going to get worse. But hold on. Okay, sorry. Just had to finish my eyebrows because we'll be here forever. But so 35 weeks pregnant, and something comes over me and I knew something was wrong. I was not feeling well. Body aches, temperature, just the works, right? And I knew it. I knew I got the cocoa, and I just sat in my bed yet again and sobbed because I took the precautions of not leaving the house. You don't leave the house, you really run a low risk of getting pregnant. Getting sick. And I didn't want to get sick because, like I said, you can't take the same medicines as everybody else because you're, carrying your child, and you have to make sure that you're taking all precautions to stay safe and keep the baby safe. And I believe some of the medications that they were giving people that have cocoa lower your blood pressure or lower your heart rate or something like that, and that's not good for the baby. So I sat in bed. I ended up missing an appointment. Actually, I ended up missing both my appointments to have fetal monitoring done. And that Sunday of being 35 weeks pregnant, I was 35 and 6. I went to, or was I 35 and 5? No, 35 and 6, because Mondays were a new week. I went to the hospital, and as soon as they wouldn't even wheel me into the hospital, they wheeled me on the outside. So they kept all of us patients on the outside. And I went there and I said, these are my symptoms. I'm not feeling well. I wasn't running a temperature, but I told them I'm 35 weeks pregnant, and the nurse that was seeing me stopped me, and he was like, listen, one thing at a time, okay? So he didn't even take into consideration that I was pregnant, that I possibly could have been in labor. He just took like my vitals, and he said, how's your pain? I said, I'm just like achy, my back really hurts. But remember, because I had HG and I had a lot of things going on anyway, I didn't pay much attention to it. So little background there. So Instead, the guy prescribes me albuterol, which the problem with albuterol is I had sports-induced asthma as a kid, and I knew how to use an inhaler. The problem with having cocoa and using an inhaler is you actually have to inhale. Inhaling deeply triggers coughing. So I took one pump. Father be with me, because it was the worst. It took me about 15 minutes to catch my breath. And I was in so much pain, and I was only able to take it maybe once, twice, and I'm pretty sure I barely got any medication. He gave me that, and he gave me, I think, like extra strength Tylenol, and that was it. He sent me away. So I'm suffering in bed all day Sunday, all day Monday. Painful, just not feeling well, just not really drinking because I had no appetite. Just the works, okay? 36 and 1. I try to get to the bathroom again, right? And I want to say my bed is, because we have an ensuite, the bed from where I am, maybe, let me count how many steps. If I'm walking at a normal pace, normal step, not foot to foot, but a normal like walking step, is about 20 paces, okay? And I couldn't do it. And I sat on the toilet, I peed, with everything that I had with me, I called David. I don't think I had my phone with me. I called David and I said, please, I'm not feeling well. It took me about 5 minutes maybe to catch my breath because I was coughing so bad. And he looked at me, my face was pale, and he said, we're going to the hospital. And I said, please, no, I just want to lay back down. If you can help me back to the bed. He said, the only place I'm helping you is to get into the car. Okay, so he springs into Superman mode. And I said, no, here's the thing. I said, I can't make it down the stairs. I won't make it. I probably will black out. I probably will die. Like, I won't make it. Mind you, the baby was sitting up under my ribs anyway. So it was already hard for me to breathe and even harder to catch your breath because that's where the baby was sitting. So he had to carry me out of the house. And I'll insert a picture. My sister took a picture because I was pitiful. Denver, we left Denver here. He was so sad, but I was like, Mommy will be back, with like the few breaths that I was taking. Mommy will be back. I have to go check the baby and make sure everything's okay. So, get to the hospital. It's about 15 minutes from where we live. Get to the hospital, and David said, this time, instead of going to the emergency room where they're probably going to treat you exactly the same, we're going to head to labor and delivery. And I couldn't make it down to my midwives because they were still in the loop with me, like, you know, make sure we know everything. So David gave them a call just to let them know, but they took me straight up to labor and delivery. So they take me straight to labor and delivery. They get you hooked up, get the belly monitors. Mind you, I remember telling them, please, I have a huge fear. Like not being able, you know what my breathing felt like? If you ever had to blow through a straw or breathe air through a straw, that's how my breathing felt. And it was just a whole lot of things, right? So I remember talking to the nurse. She comes in this like space suit, all garbed up, and I tell her, I said, listen, I have a major fear of hospitals. I don't like hospitals. That's why I opted to have my baby at a birthing center, and now this is where I am, okay? So I said, please, with everything in you, I don't want to cry. I said, with everything in you, please, I need to get back home, okay? I have a 3-year-old son, and he's depending on Mommy to come back, okay? So I said, whatever we do, we just need to do it with caution, okay? I need to make it back home. So the nurse was really, really nice. I wish I knew their names, and I wish I knew what they look like, because everybody was garbed up, masked up, like head to toe, like, you know, Monsters Inc. when the little girl attaches herself to Sully. Was that it? Or there was a sock. There was a sock on. No, wait. there was a scene. I'll have to find it and put a snippet in here. But there was a scene where I think the sock was, and everybody, all the monsters came out with their garb. That's what it looked like. And now I'm all over the place. Jeez Louise. Okay, so we get checked in. I want to say we got to the hospital around 12, because it's only about maybe 12:15, 12:30. I think around 12:30. It's only like a 15-minute drive, but because I had to move slower, everything took a little longer. When we got to the hospital, David put me in a wheelchair, and I told him, let's be smart about it. Let you go park the car where you should go park your car. Just grab me a wheelchair and I'll wait outside for you. So that's what he did. And it was fine. People were walking past me, looking at me like, what's wrong with her? But I waited for David, and he wheeled me in, and he says, my wife has to go to labor and delivery. Like, he was not going to take no for an answer. So they were like, yeah, let's get you checked in and get passes. So we ended up getting checked in, and they brought us straight up to labor and delivery, and the nurses were really nice. And I just explained everything to them, like, hey, I'm not a patient here, but I'm not feeling well, and I want you to check my baby. I'm preeclamptic. I was being seen at another center, but I couldn't make it down there, just like the whole story, right? So after they get me hooked up, because they put you on the 2 belly monitors, they put the pressure cuff on me, temperature. They checked baby, and they checked my cervix, and it was terrible. They said I was not in labor. I was not dilating. And I was like, okay, well, they're like, well, we'll keep you for monitoring just in case. And I looked at the nurse and I said, I have to use the bathroom, just so you know. And she's like, well, let me call the doctor. Let me call the doctor again, because she just checked you and she said that you're not dilated. So, she was like, if she says yes, you can get up and go to the bathroom, get up and go to you could get up and use the bathroom. We'll help you or whatever. I said, my husband will help me, because so she called the doctor back, and the doctor was like, well, let her get up and use the bathroom. And the nurse said, I don't know if I feel the most comfortable with that. Like, if you could come back in here and just check her again. She was like, I just checked her. Nothing's going on. She's not dilated, no centimeter, no nothing. So the nurse was like, okay. So I looked at her, I said, well, can I go to the bathroom again? She's like, well, if you don't mind, I'm going to check you again. I said, okay. Because I was telling her, I said, I have excruciating pain in my lower back, right above your butt crack, like that area, maybe this wide. And I said, and I have pressure, but I have to use the bathroom. That's what it is. And she said, I'm going to check you again. The nurse checked me. I was 2 centimeters dilated and 80% effaced. And she said, you cannot get up. So, and by that time it was like maybe, because they took forever to get me hooked up. It was around maybe like 3:45 at that point when the doctor answered and all that stuff. So maybe even later, maybe around 4:00. So I was like, okay. I was like, what do we do now? She said, well, you're going to be having a baby today. I said, oh, no, please no. I was like, oh, I'm not ready. Like, baby's supposed to come out at 37 weeks. That means I'm going to have to have the baby go to NICU, and that's not what I wanted. That's not a part of my plan. Clearly, nothing was part of my plan. So anything that I could have control over, I was wanting to have control over. And I told David before all of this, I said, please, my fear of all this. I can't speak as much because I'm not feeling well. I'm short on breath and all that stuff, but you have to be my mouthpiece. You have to be my advocate. You really have to advocate for me. Like, don't let me die in this hospital. That's really how I felt. I felt that, and I knew going into going into the hospital, I said, you can't go in with that bad energy, but I was just having this weird energy about going to the hospital. I was like, I'm not going to make it out of here alive. So that nurse, I wish I knew her name, and I wish I knew what she looked like. So she had me laying down, and she was like, you're going to have this baby today. And I was like, okay. I said, but can I use the bathroom? She's like, no, you can't use the bathroom, because what if that's baby and, like, you have the baby in the toilet. I'm like, at least it's out. Like, clearly not in my right mind. I'm like, at least the baby's out. It's fine. Like, I really have to use the bathroom. So, maybe 15 minutes went by and she checked me. Good. I was 5 centimeters dilated. I was like, oh, this is for real. Like, the doctor told me I was not even dilated. And now I come back and I'm dilated. Like, I'm not supposed to have you. Mind you, I'm at the hospital a month early. The baby's coming early. Like, I'm not supposed to be having this baby, and you're telling me I'm having the baby today. Like, I came into the hospital just to get checked and make sure the baby's okay, thriving in my belly, and you're telling me he's not. At this point, I didn't know if it was a boy or a girl. And I didn't see, I should have written this down, or I should have written this down. When I went to my 34-week checkup, they said the baby was measuring 2 weeks too small. So he was measuring 32 weeks instead of 34, which is a sign that your placenta is not giving the baby all the nutrients, everything that the baby's supposed to have. It's a sign that the baby's not, if the baby's not growing to the week size that they're supposed to match up to. And up to that point, measurements were pretty on with week, pretty spot on. So, so wait, what was I saying? So I was 5 centimeters and I was like, I really have to go to the bathroom, please. Like, it's going to happen. We're going to have to clean this up, or like, something's going to happen. And, the nurse was really nice. She was like, no, like, if you have to go to the bathroom, you just go to the bathroom. But she's like, I have a feeling that's baby pressing down on that back area because you're having really bad back labor and bad pain. Mind you, I don't know what contractions feel like because I didn't have contractions with Denver. I had back labor with Denver. With this one too, it was not a true... It wasn't a true contraction. I was having pain through my back, through my butt, through that back area. So I never had true contractions. I was having back labor, like true back labor. When I say intense pain, I can't even put it into words. So I'm not sure what regular contractions feel like, but I do know what back labor feels like, and it's not pretty. So she checked me 5 centimeters dilated. And then she checked me, she kept checking me because everything was going so quickly. I'm telling this out of order. She checked me again. I was at 8 centimeters dilated. By 5 centimeters dilated, David and I looked at each other and he anointed me. We brought anointing oil that we ordered from our church. Before we left the house, Shayna checked the mail, ran to the mail, grabbed what was in there. Thank God the anointing oil was in there. David took a vial with us, or a container with us. And he anointed me around, I want to say 5 centimeters dilated because things were moving really, really fast. And I remember when we got there, they were like, oh, if you are in labor, you're going to need the Pitocin, And when she was saying those things, I was just so nervous. I was tensing up. My blood pressure was through the roof. And I prayed and I said, Father, please don't let me get a C-section because I know how much can go wrong. The mortality rate for Black women in the hospital is through the roof. They already dismissed me on Sunday when I was here, so nobody's quite paying attention to me and the pain level that I'm in. I think I deal with pain pretty well, except tattoo pain, but I think I deal with it pretty well. But they were just being very dismissive of that Sunday. So I was nervous. So David anointed me. The room got so warm. It felt like the Lord was standing in the room with us. I know it. And next thing I know, they checked me again. I'm 8 centimeters dilated. Everything was moving so slow. They put oxygen on me. And I closed my eyes while David was praying. Like I said, everything felt like it was moving so slow, but it was moving really fast at the same time. And I heard metal clinking, and I wasn't sure if they were getting ready to like wheel me to go get a C-section or if it was about to be go time for baby. And they checked me again, and the lady was like, all right, we're ready to push. They brought down the stirrups to put my legs in. They put this big light, like what you see like surgery lights. They brought that down. And the mean doctor, she was not nice at all. I know her name, and I would put her on blast, but it doesn't make a difference at this point. I'm fine and healed, and my son's here. So I remember they kept telling me to pull up my mask. I said, I can't even breathe, and you want me to pull up my mask and push and hold my leg? It's not happening. So he was out within maybe 2 pushes. I didn't even really push. My body did the work. And unfortunately, I was on my back. I hated it because I had so much back pain, so much back labor. And before I knew it, they threw him on my chest, and Mr. Shia was born. And we had no clue of what he was. I was like, what is it? What is it? With all like 2 breaths of air that I had in my body, made sure to ask what the sex was of the baby, and it was another boy. And I just cried. I was so thankful that he got here safely, and I was on the mend, I guess you can say, because my battle it started a week prior, and my battle of recovery didn't stop when he was born. It continued on. After his birth, I told David, forget about me, I'll be fine, you go with baby. And thankfully they didn't have to bring him to the NICU. He stayed with us. But I was still very sick in the hospital. I stayed about a week in the hospital, and after giving birth, my liver and my kidney were shutting down. And it makes me just so sad, because it wasn't the birthing experience. See, I got to do my makeup. It wasn't the birthing experience that I wanted. It wasn't what I planned for myself, but the Lord had other plans. I have a feeling he made it that way because I was so caught up in not going to the hospital, not seeking that help that I did need. Because I was just so scared of the hospital. But my trust remains in the Lord, and he saved me that day. There's no other reason why I didn't go for a C-section. They should have wheeled me to go get a C-section right away because my levels were so bad. But because he knew my heart's desire and wanting to give and have a natural labor again, I did not want to have to recover from C-section scars and all that stuff. Not even the scar, forget the scar, the cutting of 8 layers of your body. I didn't want that. And he knew. He definitely knew. So that prayer, I felt the room get thick. I don't even know how to explain it. I felt like an ascension of a cloud come down, and the room was really thick and warm. And David and I looked at each other and we were like, whoa. And he knew my heart's desire to have my child naturally, and he made it happen, man. He made it happen. Because there's no reason why I didn't go for surgery, to be honest, with the way my levels were. And just how my levels were, I should have automatically be whisked in to have an emergency C-section. So God was looking out for me. So I stayed a week in the hospital. I've seen so many doctors. If I were to show you guys my doctor bill, praise the Lord that I have medical coverage this time around, because Denver's labor and delivery, if you're paying out of pocket there, it's about $6,000. And I think I paid $700, something crazy. Again, God was looking out. This birth was $100,000. I had to see so many doctors, so many specialists, people that run my blood. I got so many pokes and prods. I'll have to insert pictures. I think I have a few pictures of what my arms looked like after giving birth. It was so painful. They gave me the IV in this arm just in case. They did a lot of precautionary stabbing and needles and all that stuff. Stabbing of the needles for me, just in case things did take a turn for the worse. Because my pressure was so high, I should have had seizures. And liver enzymes and kidneys just shutting down. They just didn't know. Like I was in there. They were all questioning each other what was going on. So I made it through, stayed in the hospital. Oh, mind you, I'm in the hospital. I could not get up because I was still so sick from having cocoa. The lady tested me before I gave birth, and the test came back 2 days later that I was positive, but it was 2 days. I'm like, why wouldn't you just do a rapid test? But she stabbed me up my nose. I went back, then I went forward, then I went back, and she's going with me to get the test done. She gave me a bloody nose, and I was supposed to be on oxygen mixed with a bloody nose. It was just, it was it was so bad. It was so bad. It was so bad. I can't even put it into words. I never want to go back to that place in life ever again. It's a good thing that we don't go backwards in life. But, whew, baby, we couldn't even record. David was, I think he was screen recording while he was talking to Shayna, but it didn't get any of the audio. So it was a very quiet labor. I think I might have let out one like, because my back was on fire. I was making fists and like rubbing it across my back because it hurt so bad. Back labor is nothing to play with. But yeah, I stayed another week in the hospital. I hate hospital food. It wasn't the greatest food. It wasn't the worst food. It wasn't the greatest. I could say that much. I definitely needed stool softeners and Gas X and all that stuff after giving birth because it was pretty traumatic. I only needed one stitch, and she said I really could have gone without it. And mind you, he was a 5-pound baby, so I don't even know why I needed a stitch. But recovery was really, really rough. I only gained 5 pounds during my pregnancy, and by the time I left the hospital, I lost 20 pounds. And is it called muscle? I don't know what it's called. I don't want to make up the word. So my muscles deteriorated while I was in the hospital, and I pretty much couldn't walk. I couldn't walk upright. I needed help literally to do everything. We were in the hospital, I think 6 or 7 days, and I didn't move around much at all. I couldn't. I was having coughing attacks every time I tried to get up. I had to have a bedside commode. And when we got home, I just prayed, and I prayed for strength. I prayed for restoration of my body. That I'd be able to take my kids out and go for a walk and slowly get back to myself. I knew that it was going to be a process because I lost so much weight and so much muscle. I lost a lot of muscle. I wish I had pictures. I was skin and bones when I got out of the hospital. I was really, really, really sick. Really, 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 really sick. I just knew I was going to die. I was pretty sure I was not going to come home. And I just sat there and I cried in that hospital bed because I said, who's going to take care of my kids? I really saw so many specialists. So many people were in and out of my room, blood draws every day. For a few days, it was twice a day. I had to get heparin shots in my stomach that hurt so bad. And I asked to change it to my arm so I wouldn't get blood clots. Because I was like, I already had so much trauma in my stomach. I can't take those shots anymore. They burn so bad. They hurt so bad. So myself and the nurse, we would squeeze my arm and she would do it really quick. And I would just sit there rubbing my arm for like 15 minutes after. So that's what's pretty much taken me away. It's taken me so much time to get on and tell you my story. I didn't cry, which is good. If I were to insert some of the footage from all the other times that I tried to tell our story, I was a babbling mess, like boogers and just the whole nine. But let me tell you something, God is good. He saved my life. He restored my health, and forever grateful. I'm standing here healthy, as far as I know, healthy, to take care of my 2 boys. They're just so beautiful. Shia is 6 months now, and I really just needed that time to get better. Now, when they say you can be cleared to go work out and be yourself again after 6 weeks, no. I needed 6 weeks to recover from the birth and from losing all that weight and muscle mass, I probably needed 8 weeks to recover from all that. And right now I'm just starting to work out again. I wanted to take it slow because I had a lot of pelvic pain with both births, and there's no rush. For me, there was no rush. I didn't gain much weight at all during my pregnancy, so it's not to like, my body snapped back the day I gave birth. It was never to get snatched again. It was more of like, I need to get my muscle back. So that's really where I'm at right now. And I know all of you guys understand why I needed time, and you probably didn't know that I had such an interesting birth this time around. But Mr. Shia, he is just growing and he's beautiful, and he was a preemie baby. He didn't spend any time in the NICU, thank God. He came out 5 pounds. I believe he's finally on track now. We've been taking him to the doctor pretty often. She wants to see him every 2 months, every 2 to 3 months. I think this one was 3 months now. We go back, I believe, in May, just to make sure that he's on track. Yeah, so that's pretty much my story. I'm gonna have to edit some of this stuff down and some of this stuff out. I didn't even finish my makeup. But it's been a battle. It's definitely been a battle. I still have days where I can't believe all that went on, because that wasn't my plan. You know what I mean? I was so gung-ho about having another water birth. The water births are so peaceful and serene, and I really love it. But I think that's it for me, man. My boys are here safe and sound. Praise the Lord. Thank you, Father. It was definitely a battle. But I think I'm just going to finish my makeup really quick. Oh, see, and then my postpartum hair growth is coming back in already, which I'm happy about. But it makes my hair just looks crazy some days, which is okay. I definitely lost a lot of strength. I can say that. A lot of strength, which is sad. I remember I needed so much help in the first month after having him. I couldn't really pick him up well. I had to have somebody hand him to me. 5 pounds. Okay. He was 5 pounds. Because that was heavy to me. I needed a lot of help. David was such a great help. I would set because we have a rocker in the room. I would set myself up for the day, and I would go from rocker to laying flat on the floor because my bed just felt too soft. I was like, my bones are crumbling on themselves. They hurt so bad. But is he awake? I think he's awake now. Yes, he is. I'll go get him and I'll show you guys. Hi, Dada. So this is my baby Shy. He's like a grown man now. I will pop pictures in of when he was just born and a few pictures so you guys can enjoy. Oh, wow. He's balding in the back from all this laying down, but he sits up pretty well by himself now. Every once in a while he like careens over, but he's a strong little boy. We just all love him so much, right? Say hi. He just woke up from his nap, right? My baby. But hopefully all is well with you guys. And Denver, do you want to come up here and say hi?
Yeah.
Denver's a big boy.
Can I put my pants on first?
Yeah. Hopefully all is well with you guys. We'll see how I can edit this down. Hopefully I don't have to record it again, and hopefully it all made sense. But every birth is a blessed birth. Every birth that both mom and baby come out healthy and out on the other side, it's a victory. And I'm very blessed to be able to stand here and tell you guys this story because, like I said, it wasn't looking too good. You ready? Let's say hi. Say hi. But me and my boys, we're probably gonna run some errands today, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Hopefully all is well. Please remember to be blessed, well dressed, and not stressed. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye. Look, Shy Shy. Looking just like your dad. Oh my gosh. I'm watching some of my footage back and I'm just realizing I missed a few parts. Dave and I left the house without a baby bag, okay? Because we really thought I was going in just to do the fetal testing, and we were just going to explain to them, like, I was doing fetal testing down in Long Beach. You could call that hospital and just speak to them, and maybe we can have a fetal, just you guys can monitor for a few hours here. The first time, I think, when I went down there, I think I was there for like 6 or 8 hours. It was a pretty long time. And I was just going to say, call them. They'll let you know what they did, and you guys could do the same test here because I don't feel well enough to make it all the way down there. So we're going into the hospital, no bag. I literally had sweats on. David had sweats on. And that was, I think he took a quick book bag that had like a take-home outfit if we were to have a baby. Did he? And like a bag of like a few snacks, and that was it. Because I have a thing with like eating in hospitals, which I don't even know how I made it through, but it is what it is. It's in the past now. But we didn't even go in with anything. We didn't have the car seat. I had to call my sister to bring the car seat after baby was born. I went in for testing and came out with a baby. Like, wow.